All right, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Under the Dome. I'm your host, Alan Ulrich, here with Bob Rose. How you doing tonight, Bob?
Old, tired, but I'm hanging in there. I'm eating a little bit extra, with all my meals because I'm trying to bulk up to fill in for Saints offensive line positions because Lord knows they need one.
Look, man, I ain't got enough ass for being an offensive lineman anymore. Anymore. Not that I ever was, but yeah, I can't do it. Man, I watched the game. And it's hard for me to get into it because I know it's preseason. I know it's going to be just, like a glorified practice. They even play the Saints defensive starters because they said before the game, Kellen Moore mentioned, look, these guys got a lot of work on Thursday. The starters got a lot of work on Thursday. They really, I don't need to see those guys. So when Jacksonville comes out with their starters and they're pushing the defense all over the place, I'm just like, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is something else he's looking at. He's not looking to win a game. He's looking to see if any of these guys can play. And of course, Stutzman is a guy who can play. But if you watch Kalen Saunders, he got pushed all over the place. So it's no wonder the Saints said, hey, man, don't bother going back to the locker room. Go to that locker room on the other side. That's where your shit is now.
Yeah.
And while you're there, send that center this way. Kellen Moore's a little ruthless. He cuts one guy during the game. He trades another seconds after the game. I mean, that's a little ruthless. Sean needs to at least wait a day.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what did you think of this trade? And then we'll talk about the game itself.
The trade, I'm not, and I know before we went on the air, I said that I liked it. I'll rephrase a little bit. It made sense. Kalen Saunders, a very likable. Matter of fact, Kalen, I like Kalen a lot as a person. As a player, no. You mentioned he got pushed around on Sunday. He got pushed around all last season. I don't know that Kalen Saunders was going to make this team if they don't pull off that trade. So you swap them out. Before we heard that it was a player for player trade initially, we all thought they were going to get back a seventh rounder, or that maybe could be a sixth, conditionally. And then we heard that they got Luke Fortner. Fortner comes in, with a starter's pedigree. I mean, this is a former second or third round draft choice a few years ago. Started every game for the Jaguars in his first two seasons. Now, last year he rode the bench, and obviously Jacksonville had no desire to keep him. They viewed Fortner the same way the Saints likely viewed Saunders. So that's why I initially said that I liked the trade, because it does make sense. You ship out a guy in Saunders that probably wasn't going to make your team or wasn't going to add much to your defensive line if he did, and you bring in a position of need. Which is frankly anywhere on the offensive line. Now, maybe Fortner is the answer. Maybe he isn't, but you had to give it a try.
Speaking of offensive linemen that we need help, I see Ruiz decided to take the role of the swinging door today. Ruiz has been, I've always said he is the guy that people accused Andres Pete of being. So when Andres Pete would make the Pro Bowl, people they must really be desperate if they're putting this guy in the Pro Bowl. But Andres Pete did have comical fall downs and missed some blocks and things like that. But then there were games where he looked like an all-pro.
Yeah.
Ruiz hasn't had that. There's games where he's looked like a third or second rounder, but not a first round pick. And people are like, well, you took a center and you're trying to make him a guard. He's not even a good center.
No.
It's like he's got this bulk, but can't move. His feet are stuck in quicksand. They really are, and he falls down a lot.
Yep.
And it was really, really bad yesterday, Sunday, because I'm sitting there trying to, evaluate Shuck, and Ruiz just completely whiffs on one block, and another one he just falls completely down, and Shuck's got to run out of there. The NFL memes had a big thing about the fact that Shuck fell down, saying, "And this is the guy they took over Shedeur Sanders." But it's obvious that Shuck's foot got stuck in the turf, because you see the rubber pellets fly everywhere. It was a brand new turf. They always put a brand new turf down at the beginning of the season, and for the first few games, it's a little tough. It's got to get some wear to it. So by the time it's October, the field's almost got like a sheen to it, because the grass or the fake grass is kind of laid down. So then it becomes a little more slick than anything else. But his foot got caught in the turf. The other one, it was just a jailbreak, and he got killed on the snap. So, I know later tonight we're going to go through the offense, who we think are going to be guys who make the roster. And I'll be honest with you, going to that offensive line, I don't know who the hell. Once you get past the 5 that have to start, outside of Simpkins, I don't know who the hell else is going to make this team.
Right.
If anything, this could be 3 guys they pull in off of waiver wires after everybody gets cut.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, we talked about it, pre-show. Folks, you look at all the offensive linemen on this roster. Find me, typically teams carry 8 or 9 on their active roster into the regular season. Find me even 8 quality offensive linemen. You can't do it. And even Simpkins is playing okay, especially for an undrafted rookie. And I think he's probably a slam dunk to make this roster. Certainly sounds like it in the way both you and I are talking. But you put him on a deep offensive line, and Simpkins doesn't make this team. This is just. I wrote about it in my post game piece on Saints Wire. I'm not gonna say, hey, the Saints are a really, really bad football team or anything like that. I'm not gonna discount the preseason results altogether either. But I did say, and I stand by this, all the questions, all the concerns, all the red flags that we had about this team, position by position, literally 0 of them have been answered. You don't have a quarterback. You're still, Kendre Miller looks great, but again. The concern with Miller has always been the availability. So that won't be answered till it's answered. Doesn't look like any quality depth behind him if Kendre goes and gets hurt again. No backup receivers with the exception of Tipton maybe is showing the ability to separate. The offensive line looks abysmal. The defensive line looks abysmal. So again, all the same concerns, questions, red flags that we had. None of it has changed.
The only thing I can say about the defense, we haven't seen a lot of these guys play in preseason at all.
Correct.
So I don't know if that means they love what they've got and they want to put them in bubble wrap until week 1. Because I'm just looking at my list here for the guys I have making the team on defense. No Chase Young yet. No Carl Granderson. You saw a little bit of Godshaw. No Brian Brzee. No Davis. No Werner. No Kool-Aid McKinstry. No Blackham. No Reed. I'm going through all 3 levels. And those guys we know are going to be starters, but I think they really are looking for the depth players, the guys that they're going to count on to fill out the rest of this roster. And despite how they looked against the starters of Jacksonville, I saw signs of life where I'm going, okay, that's a good player. That guy looks like a good player. I see some things out of this. It doesn't mean I think that this is the second coming of the Dome Patrol or the 2000 defense or anything like that. I just see guys that I feel better about than I do on offense. Offense, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Everyone makes a big deal about the quarterbacks. I'm like, damn, I'm terrified about every position on the team on offense.
Literally.
Because I can count on one hand guys I feel confident about and have a finger left over.
Yeah. And it's always the same finger.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll tell you who they are. Olave, Shaheed, Cooks, and Kamara.
Yep.
There's my four. I mean, because, Banks looks great. Fuaga looks good on the right side. I haven't seen McCoy out there yet. I'm sure McCoy will be fine.
Except he struggled with injuries in recent. Is his body starting to break down?
Mm-hmm. But the middle of that offensive line, I feel really shaky about.
Yeah.
Oh, Juwan Johnson's on the team, but I don't like him as my tight end number one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and like we already talked about Miller. Miller looks great in preseason. He looks like he's hitting guys and bouncing back from it, not collapsing, not, oh, my God, I just made a great play. Now I have to go to 6 weeks because I have a bad hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean, I'm terrified about putting all my eggs in Kendre Miller's basket because if he goes down, that's Kamara running up the middle again. And I don't want to see that, Who did you like in the Jaguars game?
It's a lot of the same, like you. It's a lot of the same names that I liked carried over from the Chargers game. Isaiah Stallbird, he's going to be a really tough guy to keep off of this team.
I got him making the roster.
Yeah, same. Stallbird, it looks like a heat-seeking missile out there. He looks like every single guy on the other team personally wronged him. Yeah. Jalen Ford looked really, really good. You don't say. I haven't seen Ford. I haven't seen Ford much against the run, but he looks so instinctive. In pass coverage. Frankly, with these two guys, I don't have Nephi Sewell, who I don't know what have never known what the big deal about Sewell is, but that's another point for another time. I don't have either Nephi Sewell or DeMarco Jackson making this team. I have Isaiah Stallbird and Ford taking their spots. Mm-hmm. That's not to say Sewell and DeMarco have played bad. They haven't. But Stallbird and Ford have just outplayed them that much. Jonas Sanker, I'm not ready to anoint him as the next great coming, but I thought Sanker played really, really well. Rico Payton is having a good camp, good preseason. Mm-hmm. Again, all on the defensive side. I know everybody's in love with Mason Tipton. I'll hold my judgment until I see him make some plays in the regular season. I'm not going to be one of those people that ridiculously are comparing him to Lance Moore. Hold on, folks. Let's just wait a minute. Could we? But I mean, Tipton's playing well. He's really been the only receiver to even come close to being a factor. And you mentioned Kendre Miller. Kendre's running with great vision right now. It looks like the light has turned on for him. I just hope he stays healthy.
That's exactly it. I mean,
those are the guys that impressed me. It's a short list.
Yeah. I mean, if I had a guy, when you take off, this is going to sound so perverted, but if you take off the pads and you have Kendre Miller stand there in his underwear looking at you and you said, what does this guy do for a living? I'm going to say he's a football player. He's a running back or a linebacker or something. He is chiseled out of granite. Yeah. He looks the part. I don't want to say built like Tarzan, plays like Jane, because that's not exactly right, because he is a physical player. He
Yeah.
just can't. He can't stay healthy, or hasn't stayed healthy. He looks like he's got something to prove, and I like
Correct
that.
me if I'm wrong, though. Haven't all of Miller's injuries been soft tissue injuries?
Yes, they have
Okay.
been. They have. Look at this.
I can't.
Well, I'm sorry, John. That's what they used to call the combine underwear Olympics.
Yeah,
So
I still call him that. Well, I mean,
yeah,
remember, I think it was Jerry Jones that made the comment. When he was asked, he was still a young owner, inexperienced owner, and asked about his rookie quarterback Troy Aikman, and Jones, in typical idiocy Jones fashion, Jones spit out something like, "Well, he looks good in a jock strap" or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, really, I look at the guy, and he is, he looks like the football player, whereas a lot of guys, you see him, you're like, yeah, he looks kind of small, kind of spindly, especially receivers. They don't look very cut or anything like that. Doesn't look very physical. He looks the part, but that's the dependency. And I think the soft tissue stuff, the guy they've got now with them doing the recovery, stretching, and so forth, I think that's going to help these guys and help them stay healthy longer, that'll be a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but
well, I mean, especially on offense, where you have there's a black hole of depth, on the offensive side.
Absolutely. So, we're gonna go through the offensive players in just a minute. But the guys I thought did well Sunday. I'm gonna give some credit to Spencer Rattler. I felt like, this is the scary thing, and I've said this on Twitter, and I'm gonna say it here too. Both quarterbacks have identical statistics. Both quarterbacks have, when they've come on in relief of the other, have provided the spark and got the offense moving and made some key plays and put points on the board. Rattler obviously put more points on the board. Granted, just like with Chuck, it was against third and fourth teamers. So that has to be taken into consideration. And really, it was in the last, 4 minutes of the game that Rattler really turned it on. It was 17-9 for a while, including, which I thought was a negative. He got another attempt in the red zone inside the 10-yard line and only came away with a field goal this time because they didn't go for it on fourth down, but could not put the ball in the end zone. Should Pettis have caught? I think it was Pettis. Should Pettis have caught that ball, that back shoulder fade? Probably. It looks like he turned the wrong way, but that still wasn't a very good ball because I said this about Rattler every time. He only knows two ways to throw a football.
Yeah.
And when it's a short pass, he wants to muscle that ball in there. And I'm just like, man, put some touch on it, lighten that throw up. You want to throw the high arcing deep ball, which is fine. It's a little dangerous because it allows defensive back to break on it. But yeah, it's just a little too. He puts too much on the ball at times. He just wants to show off that gun, I guess. But yeah, I thought Miller, for somebody who was getting hit as soon as he took the handoff, made some positive yards out of what should have been a loss. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a better game. I liked him being physical after catching some swing passes. Tipton, I'm so nervous about that guy because he did the same shit last year where he was going to be, he basically beat out A.T. Perry, and A.T. Perry was everyone's darling. And when it came to the regular season, Tipton disappeared, and he can't do that. and I don't know how he's going to play. Both his touchdowns have come against backup defensive backs, where he didn't have to make a contested catch. It was just a good
Mm-hmm.
throw. He's scary as hell to be the number 4 receiver, and that's pretty much where he's put himself right now.
Yeah.
That's about it for the offense. I thought Chuck had once he got Olave and Shaheed, whereas Rattler got Johnson and Cooks. I thought, Olave dropping that pass on third down, that was a killer. That was a drive killer. Obviously, they probably come away with a touchdown on that drive. I like when Chuck got into that rhythm. I thought he did a good job, but I thought it was a little slow for him to get to that point. But the rest of it's really some of the defensive plays, Ford's interception, Stallbird just coming all over the place, Stutzman in good coverage. I thought the defensive line was terrible. Granted, it was all backups, but still, they were terrible. I thought Sanker had a good game, including the interception to close out the game, that there was 1 second left on the clock. But I don't blame the officials. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about this, but the punter battle, do you see a winner in this punter battle?
I see a less of a loser, if that helps. My hunch is Kai Kroger is outplaying Burnip. Yeah, Kai looks like he has a little bit better placement on the ball, and hang time. Burnip probably has the stronger leg.
Yeah.
But Kroger looks like the kind of guy right now that'll be able to place the ball fairly consistently inside the 20. But it wouldn't surprise me if both punters were cut and the Saints brought in a guy that gets cut from another team. And we'll speculate about that at a few different positions tonight.
Yeah. Because I'm kind of the opposite. I have Burnip making the team as a rookie. I don't know though for sure, because I've kind of got him and Kroger about dead even.
Yeah.
I said if they're going to go with a rookie, just go with him. But I would not be surprised to see both punters cut and then somebody get picked up. This is why a lot of people are pissed off that they didn't just re-sign Thomas Morstead when he was a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the same coaching staff. There's no loyalty to Morstead.
Yeah.
But I think Morstead would have been a better choice. On the other hand, Blake Grupe clearly has the job sewn up. I don't think Charlie Smith has a chance of unseating him. I think the Saints are giving him an opportunity to showcase his ability to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't.
Maybe even trade him for a 7th round pick or something like that too. I wouldn't be against that at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my hard part, because believe it or not, I've got 54 guys. No, I have 53. I take that back. Let me see something here. 25, 3. Yeah, I got the right numbers. I got 53. Okay. For some reason, I thought I had 54, but as I'm sitting here looking at this, as we're going through the names on my little homework sheet I did, be impressed, everyone. I did show prep tonight.
My show prep was her hurriedly scribbling. Every time you were talking, I'd be looking down. Okay.
Well, hey, I had the roster sitting right here. I'm looking at it going, okay, put this guy's name down. But yeah, so I have numbers in my head: 6 wide receivers, 4 tight ends, 8 offensive linemen, 4 backs, 3 quarterbacks, 4 edge rushers, 4 defensive linemen, 6 linebackers, 6 cornerbacks, 5 safeties, and 3 specialists. So, yeah, that's how I came up with my 53.
Well, mine was, I didn't come up with 53. I have 48, 49. I have 52.
You could probably
And I mean, there's a method for or a madness to my method, I suppose.
yeah.
But
Well, you could
I have
probably
two.
go to 6 linebackers.
Yeah, I could. I mean, I have two quarterbacks, which is probably where our difference is.
Yeah.
Four running backs, 5 wide receivers. Now I have, if you count Taysom and Moreau, and neither one of them are going to get cut.
No.
But even if they start the year on PUP, they got to make the active roster clear for the first 24 hours before they put them on either PUP or injured reserve.
Okay.
So because of that, I have 5 tight ends initially, and I have 9 offensive linemen somehow, some way. 5 down linemen, 5 edge rushers, although Cam is really more of a down lineman, in that. 5 linebackers, 4 corners, 5 safeties, and 3 specialists. Now, and again, my math, they came up with 52. Reason being is because I don't think Haener makes this team. I think he gets cut, and they try to bring in a veteran quarterback, which you've been yelling for since the draft. I think it happens, if not immediately after the Denver game, then once everybody makes their final roster cuts that following Tuesday.
Oh, Jerry, by the way, I did see that you're going to be at the Broncos game. I will be at the Broncos game as well. I'm just a glutton for punishment. My son was at the last week's game, so my daughter has season tickets now, so I'm going with her for that one. Yeah, I mean, it's just funny because it's a Saturday, so that's all right. I can deal with that. I don't have to go to work the next day, so that's good. Yeah, I agree with you. I can see Haener easily getting cut, and brought back on the practice squad, just because they're going to want a veteran in there. I just don't know who that veteran's going to be. Some people are talking about, and there's something came out with the odds of a player making the team. The odds of the Saints picking up Jameis Winston from the Giants, and I'm like, they're just obsessed with bringing him back to that. I don't know why. I guess they want him really to get a shot at being the starter, because if Jameis is, I guess because Jameis has history with the Saints, and that's probably the best place where he has a chance of, playing some games. And that, from the fantasy standpoint, you get a quarterback out there who is going to throw like 4 touchdowns in the game, 2 to our team, 2 to the opponents, that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I could see them bringing in somebody else who gets released.
Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, I think, is
Kenny Pickett.
Me too, but I think he knows Kellen Moore, and
Yes. Jerry, I got to ask my daughter because I have no idea where her ticket. I know it's in the nosebleed. I'm in the Bob Uecker seats, but they're not that bad. It's just they're cheap. So I will find out.
What'd you say you had at running back? 4?
I have 4. Okay, so let's go through this now. So I got Chuck Rattler as the quarterbacks, obviously, with Haener as the 3rd string guy. I don't know who's going to start for this team yet. Neither does Kellen Moore, evidently, because he keeps saying, I'm not going to name a starter. I've been saying he's trying to prepare both of them to start. With the idea, so. I might have a quick hook. Somebody's gonna start till halftime. If nothing's going up right, I'm gonna switch them. Just to see what happens. My running backs are Kamara, Miller, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jones. Only because Devin Neal hasn't played at all.
Yeah.
So I just can't see them putting Neal in there. He's gonna be a guy they're gonna try and bring back on the practice squad. He's somebody who might get called up in a game if he makes the practice squad, but I just can't see him playing a guy or picking a guy to make the final 53 who has not played in a single preseason game, and he probably won't play Sunday or Saturday either.
Yeah, and that's hard to justify, for that exact reason. I love Devin Neal, but for all the reasons that you said, it's hard to justify keeping even a fourth round pick. And I'm not sure that he does clear waivers, but I'm sure that's probably their hope.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Akers,
he was a sixth round pick.
Oh, was he? Okay, well that changes everything a little bit.
Yeah, he was a sixth round pick.
You're right. You're right though. But yeah, I mean, you can't possibly justify keeping Cam Akers over Velus Jones. Plus Velus can be a kick returner if you need him to be. Mm-hmm. He fills he's a former wide receiver. So there's that. He gives you a little bit of scheme versatility. I have the same four running backs.
Okay. Let's go to wide receiver then. Who do you have at wide receiver?
The obvious, Olave, Shaheed, Tipton, Cooks. I don't think anybody's going to argue over that one. Mm-hmm. And I'm only keeping one other wide receiver, and that's Dante Pettis. Wow. Again, it's not that Pettis has impressed me as a receiver, but he knows, especially Spencer Rattler, a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of chemistry there, and Pettis is a solid punt returner. If you're not going to put all that on Shaheed. I know, and people will argue, the Saints have kept 6 wide receivers for the past, I don't know how many years, right, under Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. Mm-hmm. I get, just like with offensive line, look at the people in this room and tell me that 6 wide receivers deserve to make this roster. And that's kind of where I went with this. Now, and you know this, Alan, so I'm mainly telling you, you viewers and listeners, whoever makes the active roster initially, there is so much turnover over the next 4 or 5 days after, that a lot of these guys, say if Pettis makes the roster initially, he could be released and brought back 3 times between then and the start of the regular season. And mm-hmm. Same with a guy like Velus Jones, Devin Neal. There's several of these guys that are making the last 8-10 guys that are on the initial active roster that may not be on there by the start of the regular season. So that's kind of my thought process in 5 wide receivers too. Thinking, okay, maybe they pull someone in from a different team. So you see my thought process in trying to keep 51, 52 mm-hmm. out of the 90 Saints that are currently on this team here.
Yeah. Well, and I've got Olave, Shaheed, Cooks, Tipton. That's my 4. And then I've got 6 receivers because I'm still in the Sean Payton, Dennis Allen mindset. I've got Kevin Austin Jr. and Dante Pettis. But I've got asterisks next to their names going, mm-hmm. okay, if somebody else comes up that they could be interested in, Austin is gone for sure. Yeah. I mean, the rumor right now is the Packers may part ways with Romeo Doubs. And if they do that, and it would probably be a trade because I doubt they'll just cut him. But, if someone like him comes out there, I can see the Saints going after somebody like that to replace Austin.
Absolutely.
I have no confidence in Cedric Wilson.
No.
And, Pettis has been out there a lot. If this was Peyton and Dennis Allen, I would say watch to see who plays this Saturday.
Yeah.
Because the guys that aren't starters, that aren't going to play, they're not making the team. Mm-hmm. So like Peoples-Jones, I don't even know if I've even seen him out there.
I can't recall.
Yeah. And I know he's never been targeted. So that's somebody who's probably not going to play. He's going to get cut. So, yeah, I mean, what we saw Sunday was roster spots, say, 23 to 90 out there playing. And from about 35 to 90 is really just guys that are fighting for a job somewhere in the league. So, yeah, it's easy cuts, but it's hard to figure out who to keep. You know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you mentioned tight ends. I did not know that about uh, both Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau. I
Yeah.
thought they could just stay on the pup list into the regular season. I did
No,
not
I
think
mean,
they had.
I will be happy to look into that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think they initially have to count as roster spots, or you IR them, which they're not going to do that because that means
No.
you're out for the year. So whether they go short term IR or the pup list, I think they at least initially have to count to your active roster spot till that 24-hour waiver period.
Well, I've got 4 tight ends because I did not know this, but I can easily see the Saints dumping almost all of them.
Yeah.
Keeping Moreau and Hill, and when you cut these other guys, telling them, "Hey, man, stay by your phone because we got to do
exactly.
this thing, and we're going to bring you back. But we have to do this to make this roster move, and we'll bring you back."
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Juwan Johnson, Stoll, Michael Jacobson, and that guy Welsh, who had a great catch. But that's pretty much the reason why I'm putting him in there is because, you had a great catch. But, I mean, I'll be honest with you, those 3 guys, that's the 3 Stooges there, man. You can find me 3 guys off the street probably could do the same damn thing those 3 guys can do.
Yeah, easily. And I mean, Stoll has probably been the best blocker, slightly better than Jacobson. All 3 guys have made plays on special teams, which is great. And I know the Saints value special teams, but you have to have guys make plays on offense and defense too. And it's really what we're having a hard time. But yeah, I mean, I have the same thing. Juwan's a no-brainer. Stoll, and I have Juwan, Stoll, and Jacobson once Taysom and Moreau go on PUP or short-term IR, whichever move that the team makes with them.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, you just don't have anything. And this is why people were mad about the Shuck pick. And this is also why people are mad at Mickey Loomis, because they feel like we have been having to draft these offensive linemen again and again and again because we can't get that right anymore. It's ironic because I remember when it seemed like we could get any offensive lineman to work in our system.
Yeah.
Undrafted guys. The best offensive line this team has ever had. In 2011, Brian De La Puente is the center, an undrafted free agent. Before that, in 2009, won the Super Bowl, you had Jonathan Goodwin, a backup center from the Jets. We just had this ability to turn. Jerome Bushrod, from a little tiny college called Townsend. His first start in the NFL is the 2009 season, week 1. And he replaced an all-pro, or at least a Pro Bowl tackle, Jamal Brown.
Streif's a 7th-round choice.
Yes.
Jari Evans, 4th or 5th round pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Carl Nix was a 5th round pick out of Nebraska. It was a tackle. They moved him to a guard. I mean, we could just, and then you think about Tim Luito, God, I just drew a blank on a lot of these guys' names, but it seemed like we were able just to, we lose Nick, we bring in Grubbs. It worked fine for us. Not as good as Nick's, but it still worked. You're just able to find these guys. Now, we can sit there and say, well, Drew Brees made them look better. But it's like now we can't get anybody who just looks halfway decent anymore. And we're spending first rounders on these guys. Yep. You've got 4 first rounders and a second in that offensive line right now. And it's mind-boggling. But that's why we had to draft Banks instead of drafting Tyler Warren, in this draft. That's why we had to draft Fuaga instead of drafting, I don't know, a receiver, a big physical receiver. It's that kind of stuff, and it's so damn frustrating because you're spending so much time drafting and redrafting the same positions, and as a result, we get a roster that's like this. So, I mean, I don't know, Anna. To answer your question, she's asking how long is Taysom going to be out. I don't know what his time frame is. I don't know what Foster Moreau's time frame is. I know they've been working on the sides.
Yeah.
But they have yet to put on pads for anything.
Yeah. So, short-term IR is 4 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Is PUP still up to 6 weeks?
I think it could be. I'm going to say we probably won't see either of them until October.
Easily. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I just can't see. I just can't see them trying to bring either of those guys back sooner than that. Mm-hmm. Again, it's about what does his team look like in November and December versus what does it look like in August and September. Okay, so we got everybody but the offensive line now. So let's do the offensive line. I know who your 5 starters are, but go ahead and throw your line out.
I mean, the 5 starters, obviously the 2 tackles, Fuaga Banks, the center, McCoy, Penning at one guard, and the Humans Turnstile Ruiz, at the other guard. My backups, all are cringe. Raduns. And I think he stands a good chance at being your starter until Penning gets healthy. Simpkins, who I thought has played pretty well. Landon Young, the only backup tackle, swing tackle that you can really count on. And the guy that they just traded Kalen Saunders for, I think Luke Fortner, who could play center or either guard spot. If Penning is going to miss more than the first game of the season, and I think he could, then you're looking at probably bringing in another veteran, or they keep Josiah Ezram, last year's 7th round choice. That's another tackle. But I don't feel confident in any of these guys. None.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the same starting 5. Obviously, I've got Simpkins as guard center, Young tackle guard, Radnez tackle guard. But I would not be surprised to see the guy they just traded for Fortney. How do you say his name? Fortney?
Fortner. Excuse me. Sorry, Fortner. Yeah.
That's okay. I could see Fortner beating out Landon Young, honestly. I just have him going with 8. But again, like receiver, like tight end, these names are written in pencil, not pen. If they could make a move between now and then, I mean, who expected to see Saunders get traded right after the game? They can make a move to bring in a guy that they like a lot, a veteran in one of those spots. And I think if they do, it's going to be a tackle / guard.
Has to be right.
Right. Because I can't see them feeling comfortable with Radnez and Young as your tackle / guards. One of those guys has to go. And they could stick one or both of those guys on the practice squad and call them up as needed. But they need somebody. They need an actual body out there.
You think we can get defense knocked out in about 20-25 minutes since we since we have an exciting surprise for you guys for the Bayou Blitz?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we can, because just like what we just described with the offense, it's not the starters that's going to be hard to name. It's going to be the backup guys. Where does that depth come from? Absolutely. You want to do defensive end first, or edge rusher is what they call them?
Yeah. Let's go edge rushers. I have five if you count Cam. Personally, I think Cam's going to be more of a down lineman, either in the 3-man front or obviously 4-man front. But if you want to list him as edge rusher, that's fine. I have
Mm-hmm.
Cam, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Mike Rumpf,
Mm-hmm.
and Fadil. I have Fadil Diggs making it.
Interesting.
Nobody wants Isaiah Foskey on this team.
No, I saw
I,
something. I saw something insane. It's basically you're trading a 4th-round pick for Brian Robertson from the Redskins or the Commanders, but it was a trade Foskey and a 4th-round pick for Robertson. Well, first of all, I don't know why the Commanders would trade Robertson, but I'm like, Foskey is, that's kind of like, and why you taking our 4th-round pick here? Take our trash out with you too. That's basically what that is. Because I watch Foskey almost exclusively during the when he was out there on defense, and I was just appalled at just his. It's like he doesn't give a damn. I don't know how to explain it other than that. No one can have that little hustle and plays that happen right by him. Now he's got to go chase him down. I mean, no penetration. He's barely in the backfield. And I'm just going to tell you, I don't want to hear shit about how, that's Loomis, trading, drafting guys from based off potential, not what they've done, and taking guys from little schools instead of big time programs, and
not this
that's
time.
all bullshit. Because I'm sorry I'm cursing so much tonight, but I mean it is. It's just been that one of those kind of days on social media. But it's stupid because Foskey checks all the damn boxes. He's got the high RAS score. He came from Notre friggin' Dame. The all-time sack leader. He had 11 sacks his senior year, 11 sacks his junior year. So that shows progression or consistency that this guy is a pass rushing menace.
Mm-hmm.
He was projected to be a low 1st round, high 2nd round draft pick.
Yep.
And he's a bust. Because it's all in the head and the heart.
And here,
it's not ability. And that's the one thing you can't say. So, I've got him. I don't have him making the team. Jerry, you're right. Foskey's going to get cut. And no one's going to trade for him because...
No.
Why? Why would you? So Foskey's going to get cut. So I got Young, Granderson, Jordan, and Rumpf. That's my 4. I just have 4 edge rushers. I didn't go 5. Diggs, I have practice squad. Possibly get called up. I think he needs a little more development.
Agreed. Agreed.
He shows a hell of a lot more potential than Foskey.
Yeah.
He makes more plays than Foskey. All right. So your defensive linemen then, because this includes your nose tackles and evidently defensive ends. So I've got 4: Godshaw, Brzee, Shepard, and Boyd. That's my 4. I don't know. This is a damning indictment for Brockton.
It is.
Because Brockton should have at least beat out Boyd.
And I mean, Boyd played really well against the Chargers. Not so much last week, but he played really well against the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I have Boyd making this team too. I have Boyd, Brzee, I have Boyd and Godshaw as your traditional nose tackles.
Mm-hmm.
That also helps Boyd making this team now that Saunders isn't on there. Boyd, Godshaw, Brzee, Shepard, and I have Brockton making. I have 5 at this position. I have Brockton making it over Jonah Williams, or Jonathan Bullard. Williams has played okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bullard just getting pushed around a lot for a veteran run defender. He's getting pushed around more than he should. But the only reason I have Oh, Foskey, yeah. The
Yeah.
only reason I have Brockton making this team is because he is a third round choice, and teams don't give up on third round picks usually that quickly. That's literally the only way I have Vernon Brockton making this roster. But I have 5 down linemen.
Yeah. And, the stories I keep reading over and over again. The Lions got a receiver from, who the hell is this guy? Let me see. Go back. This is a lack of show prep here. Let's see. I'm sorry here. I'm sorry it's taking so long. But the Lions took a receiver. They traded up in the third round. Yeah, to take him at 70th. Isaac Tesla in the third round, the guy who came from, he was a big body receiver, came out of Arkansas. And the stories I've been reading online, the Saints were poised to take him at 74, which is, I believe, where they took Brockton.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah. So, this is one of those that you're sitting there looking at your board, seeing him slide, and he goes right in front of you, and you can probably hear the Saints war room then cursing the whole time, thinking that he was going to slip on by. Yeah. So that's why, and you and I both that night when Brockton got picked. Oh, you a nice husband. Yeah, I kiss your wife good night. But that's all right. I kiss mine every night. So, you and I both were critical of the 2 third-round picks they got when those picks happened.
Yep.
I wanted the cornerback out of East Carolina with the bad knee. I wanted him in the third round, and then you and I were talking about Sanker a little bit later. But you wanted for sure that safety out of
Watts. Yeah. Notre Dame
safety. And both of us, neither one of us got the guys we wanted. Okay, so since edge rusher counts as linebacker, outside linebacker in the scheme, who are your inside linebackers? I got 6 of them. I think you got 5.
I do. I have 5. I have DeMario, Pete Warner, obviously. Danny Stutzman's making this team, no doubt. Mm-hmm. And I can't keep Isaiah Stallbird or Jalen Ford off of this roster. So I think that those are the 5 that make it. If you're going to give me room for a 6th, it's going to. I'd happily take DeMarco Jackson or Nephi Sewell. I left them off of this quick roster projection again, so that way you have room to bring in a lineman, a receiver, a veteran quarterback, whatever the case is. But if you tell me 6, either way, there's going to be 1 to 2 talented linebackers that hit this waiver wire that probably are going to be snatched up by another team before the Saints can bring them back for their practice squad.
It's amazing because when they said they wanted to go to a 3-4 type of scheme, the whole time I was sitting there going, I can't even find 4 linebackers, right? Much less 6, because that's pretty much what you have to have. 6 to 8 linebackers for a true 3-4 scheme. And I couldn't find him. Well, I've got him now. I got 6 inside linebackers. I got Davis and Warner. I got Stutzman, of course. I put Stallbird on the team too, because I'm like, I can't keep him off. That guy likes to hit. He plays the run well. He just needs some experience. Because I've got 6, I got Nephi Sewell and Ford both making the team. I'm the same way. I mean, DeMarco Jackson or Sewell, I kind of like Sewell more on the special teams. That's why I kind of gave him the edge. I thought Ford kind of pushes off Jackson as well. Just because Ford shows he can drop off in coverage, and that's something that almost none of these other linebackers can really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough cut because those other guys I think have a shot at making it somewhere else. I really like this linebacking core. I'm excited about this defense. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am.
Same. Yeah.
Just because I think this defense can carry this team. I mean, don't watch that Jacksonville game thinking that's your defense because so many people weren't on the field. I just think this defense, maybe not the first few games, maybe not the month of September, but as we get to the end of September, in October, this defense can probably do some special things and really carry some of these Saints teams to some wins that people are just writing them off right now, saying that there's no way you're going to win a game.
Yeah. Now the run defense still concerns me, and it will until it won't. And I'm still not sold. That Chase Young and Carl Granderson can give you the quarterback disruption that you need. So those are still big red flags for me. But yeah, linebacker as a unit is much stronger than also what I anticipated. And I think Brissy is going to be a stud. In this defense too. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what this defense, when the full unit is on the field, what they can do.
Look, Cam Jordan's been pretty much accusing Todd Grantham of being a terrorist.
Yeah.
I mean, when we all remember seeing Cam Jordan storm off, wouldn't even go into the locker room after that Carolina game. And Carr had to go run after him. And people are like, "Oh no! See, he's sick of Dennis Allen. He's sick of Derek Carr. He wants out of this game, out of this team." And it's like, no, that wasn't who it was about. It was about Todd Grantham. So, I think with him being out of the building and the Saints having defensive coaches they like, we're probably going to see a better run defense. We're probably going to see a better pass rush than what we saw under Dennis Allen last year. I didn't like the Grantham hire to begin with, just like I didn't like the Rob Ryan hire, way back when. And I'm not surprised it blew up. Okay, so we got linebackers. Let's look at corners. My corners, I've got 6. It's tough because, outside of Kool-Aid McKinstry, I don't know who the other starting cornerback is going to be yet. Because I've got Isaac Yiadom, Quincy Riley, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Rico Payton, Alontae Taylor, and Ugo Amadi as my 6 corners. Taylor's not going to be your outside corner. Taylor's going to be your slot corner still. So that means Rico Payton, Isaac Yiadom, Quincy Riley. Those are your 3 guys that are fighting for a starting job. I don't know who that guy is going to be yet. I don't know who's going to start outside McKinstry. And Ugo Amadi, I mean, that guy is special teams and probably your dime back, So, I mean, who do you have for your corners?
Sorry, I only have 5 here. Okay. And it's funny, you mentioned Alontae Taylor, who's one of my favorite players on this team. I completely, when I'm scribbling down, I completely left Alontae Taylor off my roster. Folks, that's not a prediction. That's just my idiocy at work. But yeah, I have 5. I have Kool-Aid. I have Quincy Riley, Isaac Yiadom, Rico Payton, and obviously Alontae Taylor. Ugo Amadi. It wouldn't shock me if he made this team, but it also wouldn't shock me if he doesn't. Yeah. So I have him pretty much on the bubble. But yeah, and I agree with Kool-Aid. I think is going to be another stud for this defense. I could see Rico Payton has been playing really well, and we haven't even talked about Rezjon Wright. He's been playing pretty well too. I don't think both Wright and Rico make this team. at least right off of the bat. And I think that you can get at least one of them back to the practice squad. And I think that that's what the Saints are thinking. Same with Amadi. Amadi is a guy who they see the offer. They would love to bring him back. If they lose him off the waiver wire, okay, we could get a couple guys throughout the league just like him, that do similar. I like Amadi as a player too. I think he brings some versatility to your team and a real spark to the special teams. But I don't have Amadi or Wright making this team. I only have 5 corners initially.
Yeah, I'm looking at the roster, and they have Amadi backing up Taylor. So, if let's just say a disaster happens and neither because their starting corner is Isaac Giddem, and then Quincy Riley's backing him up. That's just in this depth chart I'm looking at off the Saints site. If they feel like they've got to move Taylor to the outside to go with McKinstry because they're not comfortable with Giddem and Riley, then Ugo Amadi is even more important because that's really your only true nickelback.
Yeah.
So I don't have Jaden Price making this team, for example.
No.
Rajon Wright, I think he's a great practice squad candidate. Beanham, I haven't seen him make any plays for me to sit there and go, yeah, he's got this. He's going to make this team. So I just went with 6 because I went with 6 corners and 5 safeties. Because JT Gray obviously is one of those 5 safeties and that's your special teams guys. So I always stick with 4 safeties. Who do you have for your 4 safeties? I'm pretty sure it's going to be the exact same group I have.
Yeah. And your starters are going to be Blackman and Reed. I'm excited to see them. I don't like Jordan Howden as a player, but he's been playing well. And I didn't like Jonas Sanker as a draft choice, but he's been playing well. I think you're absolutely right that JT Gray, unless he's more hurt than what we were led to believe, I think JT Gray's making this team. Now, I think the key here would be, because Amadi also brings you the versatility of being able to be a deep safety. Not a great one, but brings some depth here. Yeah. So if you're going to sneak Amadi onto the roster, if you're going to sneak another defensive back on the roster, again, it's going to be Ugo Amadi because he can be a slot corner. He can be a free safety. He can play in the box. But yeah, initially I don't have him making it. My safeties are Blackman, Reed, Howden, Sanker, and JT Gray.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you have to look at some of these guys and, okay, there's probably going to be 5 of them that are going to be inactive every game day. That'll probably be an offensive lineman, a quarterback, if they keep 3, at least 1 receiver, maybe one of the defensive tackles, obviously a linebacker. But you have to start looking at these guys going, okay, who can play special teams on here? Who's going to be your gunners? Who is going to be your headhunters on special teams? And that's where I have guys, obviously JT Gray has made this team purely based off his special teams abilities. And boy, I can remember, it's been a long time, but Gray's been on this team for, I want to say
2019.
Is it 20? I thought it was 2018. Let me see.
It might be 2018.
Yeah, he is in his. Let's see. That's what I'm looking for. Career. I can just remember when this guy made. 2018. Okay, when he made the team in 2018, people were like, who in the hell is JT Gray and how does he make this team? But
that's what I said. Is exactly what I said, word for word, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at this. He played in 5 games in 2018, 16 in 2019, 16 in 2020, 16 in 2021, 14, 2022, 2023, 17 games in 2024. I mean, he's Mr. Consistency. He is just a stud special teams guy. Much like Fred McAfee when McAfee was a player. It's just one of those guys that you've got to make a spot for him. And he doesn't kill you when he's out there on defense, but he's not somebody you want out there starting multiple games. But yeah, I've got you got to make room for a guy like him. It's kind of like how Chris Banjo was and players like
Mm-hmm.
that. All right, so we kind of touched on the specialists. Obviously, players that no one's ever heard of. Zach Wood. I mean, I don't think if I asked 10 Saints fans out in front of the stadium week one, tell me Zach Wood's number, they're going to be like, who is he again? He's your long snapper, and the fact that no one knows his number or knows his name tells you that he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
So Zach Wood obviously makes the team again. Blake Grippy has won this kicker's battle. I think Charlie Smith is only getting looks right now to see if he can get him a job somewhere else in the league. So the only thing we have left is the punter, which we talked about a little bit earlier. I've got Burnip, you got Kroger, but both of us would not be shocked if we do, he does a Sean Payton, cuts them both, and, brings back one or goes and tries to find a punter from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have tried to watch punters, in preseason so far. I'm sorry. Digging lint out of my navel is more interesting than looking at punters from other teams. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And listen, I do a lot of dirty work for this job, for this media job, including rewatching preseason games that are just abysmal to watch live. I'm not stooping to scouting punters. I refuse. They can't. USA Today, there's no publication that can pay me enough to do that. I am sorry.
Yeah. It's just not. There's nothing there. So the question then becomes, who's going to be the punt returner? Who's going to be the kick returner?
With as many concerns as you have on offense, you hate to put Shaheed at extra risk, but he's such a lethal weapon. That he could turn games momentum. He could put points on the board. He could set your offense up for short fields. So I hate to put Rashid Shaheed at risk, but you almost have no choice. And now, in our roster decisions, I mean, we both have Vilas and
Vilas
Pet
Jones
is probably making it.
Yeah.
So you have options there. But I think your primary returner, especially to open the season, assuming he's healthy, that knee is healthy, is going to be Rashid Shaheed.
I'm watching Shaheed play, and he shows no sign of the injury at all. And I have to say, except for the drop by Olave hasn't shown really any effects or hesitation because of the concussions. I really would rather not have Shaheed out there returning kicks unless you need a kick. In other words, if you need to get field position for your offense to maybe get in field goal range to win a game, kind of like what they did with Reggie Bush. But I think I think Jones and Pettis both, they're really trying those guys as kick returners. And I think Jones has shown a little bit of spark, a little bit of speed, but I don't think they get it week one. I think it's going to be a gradual thing. I still think you're going to see quite a few guys out there. I would not be surprised to see. He hasn't done it, but I would not be surprised to see Edwards-Helaire out there one time to return a punt. For example.
With the kickoff rules being what they are, really you just need a guy that's going to consistently get you out to the 30 if there's a returnable ball. So you can go to, fall back to a guy like Edwards-Helaire or somebody that's going to give you ball security and go north and south rather than east to west, and put you in a little bit of a hole.
Just somebody who's going to have solid hands and make a return that you want. So, the last thing before we wrap it up tonight, Shuck and Rattler, I'm sorry. No quarterback decision is going to be made. Both of them have near identical statistics. Do you think Rattler starts next week or Saturday?
Yeah, I think he probably does. But I don't think we'll see Hayner at all again.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a pretty divided snap count between Rattler and Shuck.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, if I'm Kellen Moore, I think what I might do is have the guys alternate quarters.
I thought you were pulling Tom
Or
Landry
something
for a
like that.
minute.
No. Because neither one of these guys are really standing out there. We've seen some good things out of both of them. We've seen some bad things out of both of them. And as I wrote following the Jacksonville game, I feel like this has to be a worst case scenario for Kellen Moore
Mm-hmm.
and Nussmeier, is that neither one of these guys are taking control of the job, because a young quarterback especially needs as many reps as possible, with your ones, and you can't give that to the guy, to either one of these guys, even in practice, if the competition is that close and neither guy are playing like world beaters here.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Saints have the worst quarterback room in the league, and they have this. And I'm like, have you seen Pittsburgh's quarterback room?
Pittsburgh's, Cleveland's
disaster of a quarterback room. I'm sorry. The Colts just announced Daniel Jones is going to be the starter. You're really overestimating the talent level of a lot of these quarterback rooms based off of name players.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy is not having a great camp. He is struggling. He is not going to be another Sam Darnold.
Nope.
So before you start condemning the Saints quarterback room because of lack of, what is the term they used to like to use, Q rating or whatever the hell that means, before you start really, ranking these quarterback rooms based off of name recognition, keep in mind there's a lot of, and it's why quarterbacks are so paid in the league now, there's a lot of teams with bad quarterbacks. So I mean, I think we talked about the veteran earlier. I think only if they had a veteran in there would people feel better about it, just because they want to see that veteran start for a little while.
Yeah.
And I just don't know where that veteran's going to come from if they were to do this. So I don't know. I think it's going to come down to week one. They're going to ask Kellen after all the cuts, and he's going to say, I'm not going to tell you yet who you're going to start. So you prepare for both. And then we'll find out during the week before the Arizona game that so-and-so is going to start. And it's not going to be an obvious decision. It's going to be based off of a gut feeling. And I'm terrified that it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to use a quick hook to pull somebody out.
Yeah.
So, what do you have coming up on the Bayou Blitz? That's Friday night now instead of Wednesday night.
Yes, we are doing Bayou Blitz Friday night, folks, at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 if you live on the East Coast. Blame it on Mr. Boylan this week. He is traveling for work for his other job, and his whereabouts are currently in Arizona, I do believe. Now, the exciting part to this, not only are you, Mr. Ulrich, looking like you're going to join our show, but I am thrilled to report that just before we jumped on the air tonight, I reached out to Jim Everett. And the topic of the conversation is quarterbacks. Who better to talk quarterbacks, past, present, or future, than Jim Everett, who is always going to have a strong opinion on the matter. So I can't wait to pick his brain. Jim Everett will be joining us on the Bayou Blitz this Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So stay tuned. Keep a watch out. I always post links throughout all the Saints pages, and of course my own personal social media on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Well, I tell you what. if I made a comparison, I've said that Rattler reminds me of, God. People can get mad at me when I say this, but Bobby Douglas and John Fourcade, um, which it's going to piss people off because it's going to sound like you hate Rattler. I don't hate him. I just don't feel good about him. Whereas I see a lot of Jim Everett in
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck. I just think he is Jim Everett in the beginning of his career, not in his not really his Saints era, and certainly not the playoff level Jim Everett that he became in the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean anything more than I just see a lot of Jim Everett in Shuck.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I think that he is going to have a career like Jim Everett.
I mean, if he does, I will take it.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah, because even Jim's first 2 years as a Saint, people forget. Before some guy named Drew Brees came along, Jim held the single season franchise record for passing yardage and touchdowns. And his first 2 years with the Saints, if the Dome Patrol hadn't completely deteriorated by then, and there was any running game to speak of, I remember, the late great Sean Williams. He and I had a conversation off air about Jim one time, and Sean told me, he was like, I was so excited, when we traded for Jim Everett, because this is an upgrade over Bobby Hebert. But then my first thought was, oh my God, if we'd have had him 4 years earlier, instead of him torturing us while with the Rams, this is a Super Bowl team, and I 100% agree with that.
Look, the choice before Everett, they were this close to signing Bubby Brister, North Louisiana alum, former Pittsburgh Steeler. They had all but the signatures down on the contract. They had worked out the deal, and at the last minute, the trade offer came for Everett from the Rams, and Jim Moore jumped on it, and Bobby Brister was like, "What the hell happened?" In 24 hours, he went from "I'm going to be starting for the Saints" to, "I guess I'm not playing football." I think he ended up with the Eagles, but it's still, And when we were flirting with Bobby Brister, I was like, "Oh my God, why?" Just like, I don't like Bobby Brister. I didn't like him with the Steelers. I didn't like him, I didn't want him for the Saints. I said, you hated Wade Wilson. Good God. I mean, yeah. So I was really excited when Jim Everett came aboard. And then, of course, the whole sequence with, which I will not bring up, Jim Rome.
No.
But that whole sequence of Jim Rome happened within days after the trade happened. And that really got him in the good graces with the Saints fans. So, I mean, it was staged. It was straight out of Jerry Springer, but he needed to do that. He really did. He just needed to flip the table and go after him, because that was just a stupid thing to do. It was a stupid insult, and you just don't insult somebody like that for the phantom sack and the whole bit. Because I saw the phantom sack happen live, but it really wasn't. It wasn't that big of a deal in retrospect, because I've seen lots of quarterbacks go down like that.
Favre did it all the time.
Yeah. To give Michael Strahan the season record, for most sacks in the season. And the steroids have really gotten to Mark Gastineau, because he's still pissed about it.
Yeah.
All right. One other thing real quick, and then I'm going to let you go, Bob. I got to put this link up, but I heard from today it was like, when I first saw this number, I didn't even know who the heck this was. You guys remember Sean being the founder, the architect of this show. He had a son. His email address used to be, and also his Twitter handle was Drew's dad. Andrew is now in high school, which is shocking. Sean's been gone for a couple of years, but his son Andrew is now in high school. He texted me, "Hey, Mr. Allen, it's Andrew Williams. We started our CMS fundraiser to raise money for our football program at Calhoun Middle School. I'm sorry, middle school, not high school, middle school." He provided me a link. He's asking for any support. I will post the link on Under the Dome. I will also post this message. He said, "Any support is greatly appreciated and will help me reach my personal goal of $700. Our fundraiser will close on August 31st. Please feel free to share with Uncle Bob." Uncle Bob. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that is straight out of Urban Cowboy. Uncle Bob and yours and my dad's friends under the Dome podcast. I'm going to share it elsewhere too. I know he would do
throw
it
it
if
on
he was
the
still
Bayou
here.
Blitz page.
Absolutely. I thank you so much for your support. The link will be live tomorrow. That's when they'll start their blitz. He's going to remind me again tomorrow. But I told him I would pass this along. It's a long link, but basically anything you guys can give to help out this middle school program, that would be great. And just, say in memory of Sean. And I really would appreciate that. Like I said, I'm going to post this on Under the Dome. I will post this on the Bayou Blitz. I'll put it on my personal web page, my personal Facebook page. So yeah, anything you guys can do to help, I really appreciate that. In the meantime, since Bob is already on the smoke break, I know it's way past time. Join us Friday night at 8:00 Central Time.
Yes.
Okay, 9:00 East Coast time. Special guest Jim Everett. I'm going to, of course, bring up some, Jim Everett stories as a Saint. But it's really, I just want to get Jim's thoughts on the quarterback battle. Sean. Bob, of course, will have his questions and stuff for Jim. So please join us for that. Make us a big show because I'd love to get more Saints former players on this show as well.
Yes.
In the meantime, guys, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time under the dome. Last preseason game. Hey, enjoy it. Regular season starts in 2 weeks. So, till then, see you then. Bye, guys.